don't care if I never get back. Let me root for the house.
Hey, what's up, guys? Young Bucks, Old Goats. Welcome to episode 36. Thanks for joining us. If you're watching live, there's a live chat on the side. You can go ahead and ask questions or comments, and we'll try to answer them. And if you're watching on the replay, you can always leave a comment. We always try to answer those. I got a guest tonight. I'm going to bring him on in a moment, but I want to tell a story about how I met him real quick. I'm sitting in my office at Man of Action Figures one day, which, by the way, is a sponsor of the show. You can check out manofactionfigures.com for action figures, collectibles, statues, things like that. So anyways, I'm sitting in my office one day, and I'm looking at resumes, and I scrolling down the resume, and I'm like, holy shit, it says here St. Louis Cardinals, left-hand pitcher, pinch hitter. I'm like, what? That's crazy, man. It was by far like the coolest resume I ever got at Man of Action Figures for sure. So I said, I got to call this guy, even if, nothing, even if we don't end up working together, I got to call this guy just to talk to him. And we did. We ended up talking for a little bit, and it was cool. And we never ended up working together, but it was cool to talk to him for a little while. And then all these years later, I think that was like 5 years ago, something like that. I start my podcast, and I decide it'd be pretty cool to talk to this guy for a show. And he's with us here tonight. Former University of Miami pitcher, former professional pitcher in the St. Louis Cardinals minor league system. Iden Nazario is with us tonight. Welcome.
Thanks for coming, bro. Thank you for having me, man. Super humbled. It's a pleasure to be on.
How you doing, man? How are you holding up through the whole coronavirus thing and all that?
I've been pretty good. It sucks that we haven't been able to do the normal outdoor stuff. Fishing, Friday night softball, hanging out with the friends at the houses and stuff. But other than that, I've been good. Staying quarantined with my girlfriend and working and just grinding through it at the end of the day.
I'm in the same boat. Yeah. What are we gonna do, man? We have to get through it. So, man, I really I want to go through your baseball experience a little bit first, and then we'll talk about some other stuff. Was your family like a baseball family when you were growing up? Like other people in your family were into baseball, or it's just you just happened to get into it?
Yeah, no, my dad played all sports, and so I'm Puerto Rican descent. Mom and dad are both from Puerto Rico, born and raised over there. I was unfortunately the only one out of the family to be born here in Miami, because I feel like I carried like that culture and that pride very well. I love Puerto Rico and all the aspects and my culture, like I said. But so my dad was a big sports fanatic, played volleyball, bowled, like anything that you can imagine. Baseball was kind of one of his biggest things. Although I think his favorite sport was football. But he's like 5, maybe 9, and he's like 120 pounds wet, like skinny dude. Actually looks like Abraham Lincoln. I should have got a picture to send you about that. I think I have one. Maybe we'll do it if we have a little bit of time later.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad played for like the amateur AA, what they call in Puerto Rico. And, he's just a fanatic. And I started when I was 4. So it was kind of, I don't know if it was a dream or a passion of his that he wanted to, but I started when I was 4, and it took off from there.
What kind of I remember I grew up in Hialeah. Those two, I think like Corey Lee was like a big one, and then I can't remember the name of the other one. Do you remember the name of the league you played in as a kid?
Yeah, it was Parian Corey League, called it PKL.
Okay.
Now it's known as Franjo Park, and actually it's like under complete renovation and construction. I think during the last hurricane that we had, it kind of like demolished it. The town of Cutler Bay is doing something to get it up and running. But yeah, PKL is where it definitely started. I remember, I think it was my first practice on my first team. I caught a line drive right off the forehead, and I never went back. I had a tattoo of the seams for forever. And I just it was, I guess, love at first sight or love at first contact.
At what age did you start to realize, or did like your parents or other people realize that I'm pretty good at this?
um, so I mean, I wouldn't be able to tell you what age that, maybe I started realizing, or people around me. I I like to consider myself humble still to this day. Even when you ask, what probably throughout while you're asking me questions, you'll see me kind of like shy away a little bit. But um, I think I really started to notice when I got chosen to try out for the USA national team as a 15-year-old. I had a monster tournament in Roger Dean, where the Marlins, and crazy enough, where I ended up playing with the Cardinals in West Palm. I had a monster tournament, and I think out of like 15 at bats, I got out twice or three times with like two or three home runs. I pitched a couple innings, but back then it was just all about stick and first base. And so, yeah, that's when I think I started to realize that I had something going.
And who are you playing against during those games?
Oof. So the team that we took was actually like a mix of Southridge and Columbus at the time. We had a lot of good players that were on my team. Um, a couple just to mention off the top of my head is Buddy Monroe, that played at Columbus. He ended up going to UF. There's another gentleman. His name is Petey. Forget his last name. He was a third baseman. Him and I actually got into a fight in a high school game. It was a JV game, and we ended up becoming best friends when we played on that team. God, I can't remember that team right now off the top of my head, but we played against a ton of like. One to name drop is Jason Hayward.
Oh wow!
And Hayward, I actually pitched against him at one point, and I walked him once, and he smoked like a single right over my head, and I was like, "Yikes!" But
Wow.
but yeah, there's definitely a lot of competition.
He's a
Uh,
lefty, right? Also.
yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Hayward's like I threw him. I think what he hit was like a hanging breaking ball, and he just hit it right back up the middle. But to go back, my first year that I ended up playing with the USA team, we had a bunch of big leaguers. I think the second year had Hank Conger, but we had Chris Marrero that was out of Pace. We had a kid by the name of Max Sapp. He was out of Orlando. He was a beast. I don't know how he got, like, he didn't get drafted, but Matt Dominguez, you've heard of him. Godly. There's just so many to name. I'm trying to, let me see if I can go around the infield.
Was Hayward a South Florida guy, or he was from another part of the country and you just ended up playing with you guys or against you guys?
Who's that?
Hayward.
Hayward? No. He just ended up playing against, I think he came from like Georgia. I think he was on the Georgia Aztecs or something like that. They had like an elite team that they just brought kids like around, like from all parts of Georgia, and they stuck them together. But my team, that USA team, had, I think, so many big leaguers. I think there was at least like 10. You
Wow.
know, yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Is Southridge? I've been out there because I didn't grow up down here. I grew up in Hialeah, but after I came down, I've gone to see some football games. Are they known for? And forgive my ignorance. Are they known for their baseball program, or are they known more for their football?
When my brother played and when I played, yeah, we were known for baseball. Yeah, we were big deals. When my brother played, I think they went to like I think it was like final, I guess, GMACs. I believe they went to state once. Um, when I played, we never went to states, but we always took it like to the last, like, I guess, super regionals, I guess they call it. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, we were forced to, to kind of be reckoned with. Everybody always had an eye out for us. But yeah, Southbridge was definitely in football. When my brother played, they were big, and prior to that as well, which was like '04. But yeah, football and baseball was definitely the sport for Southbridge, or the sports, excuse me.
Do you keep up with them at all? Do you ever like?
Funny enough, I actually tried to be the head coach when I got done playing, and I think the gentleman there is Hendricks, Will Hendricks, or something Hendricks. He has more experience than me. He was at Coral Reef when I was playing, and I think was like an assistant coach at the time. But anyways, when I got done playing, I was at my parents'. There's a lot of things going on, and so I would go back. We lived really close to Southbridge, my parents, and I gave back. I tried to teach the kids things that I learned throughout my years, and there was a time where there wasn't even like a head coach like named, and so I was like, well,
Wow.
there's another alumni, Leo Vargas, that was there at the time as well, and Gabby Suarez, and we kind of like those three alumni were just kind of like trying to like maneuver and run the team and get them ready. It was like fall, I believe, or spring, and yeah, it was fall, and summer. Excuse me, it was summer and fall, and so. Yeah, I mean, I gave back as much, but when when Hendricks took the reins, I kind of pulled out. I didn't want to like step on anybody's toes. There's a different method and like theories of teaching and how to teach. So I just walked away. I just was like, I don't want any part of it. I don't want to have any like bad blood with anybody. So I let that go.
Is that something you enjoyed while you were doing it? Is that something you'd want to like maybe revisit one day?
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, I love baseball. Anybody that knows me knows it. It's hard not like to like have a conversation of the past and baseball not be a part of it some way, shape, or form. I would love to. I would absolutely love to. I've taken the position since I've been done that I want to help like younger players, avoid any hurdles or mishaps that that I had, and just eliminate any of that and teach them and help them and guide them, make them better players and better people at the same time.
Was there guys like that around when you were coming up through any of those levels? Was there like an older dude that would come and maybe give you like some pointers? Hey, don't do this. Maybe not even on field stuff. There's always a coach, but some of the other stuff. Was there a guy or different guys around like that?
Yeah, there was always a couple of guys around. Generally, one or two guys out of the bunch of the team were pretty solid. In high school, there was a guy by the name of Leo Alvarez that kind of like, I was a freshman, hot shot. I thought I was, my shit didn't smell. Varsity as a freshman, and he kind of like held me back a little bit. Since my brother had just left, there was still remnants, so people knew who I was, who I was coming in, and so they kind of looked out for me, and I pretty much went about my business, in a good way. But at it was great. My freshman year was fantastic. It was like mentorship left and right, and everybody was helping everybody. And the beautiful thing was a majority of the team were like seniors. So Yonder Alonso, Jamal Weeks, Dennis Rabin, Blake Takoti, what's his last name? Carlos Gutierrez. My God, the list goes on and on.
Jackson, right?
I'm sorry?
Was Ryan Jackson later?
No, Ryan Jackson was there. He was a sophomore that year. So Ryan Jackson definitely was there. Yes. God, I love him. I saw him a couple times in the minor leagues. Yeah, man. I mean, just the team top to bottom, it was filled with people that gave a shit, and it noticed it showed its face, because at the end of the year, we were in Omaha, and that was a tribute to everybody helping everybody, and nobody was like a misfit or like just a pawn. Everybody was a part of the team, and everybody helped each other get better and pushed each other. It was beautiful. If I could want and say this is the type of chemistry that I would want on a winning team, that would be it.
Yeah, that I mean, for people out there that know a little bit about anything about college baseball, they know UM's an elite NCAA program, 4 titles. They're always in that tournament usually, and that '08 team, ACC champions, right?
Yep.
'08, which was the first time, because they hadn't been part of a conference for a long time, but they had been for a handful of years. That was the first time they won it.
Yep.
And 53-11, and you guys got to the quarterfinals, and it's nice that you got to beat FSU with Buster Posey, right, along the way.
Yep.
It's badass.
For all FSU fans that love FSU out there, if my buddy EJ is watching, there you go.
I don't keep up a lot with college, but I did a little research, and that made me smile right there, that part of it when I saw it. So that was awesome. '09, you mentioned there was a lot of seniors, so I'm assuming you guys lost a lot of people in '09, and that's why you had a little bit of a step down. You still got to the tournament, but 38-22. Am I guessing right there?
Yeah, it sounds about right.
So did a lot of dudes end up leaving?
Yeah, a majority, like how I mentioned, a majority of the players were like seniors and getting ready, not seniors, excuse me, juniors getting ready to get drafted. And so everybody left, from Jamal Weeks to Yonder Alonso to, Carlos Gutierrez to Mark Soboleski. Damn, I forgot about Mark. I can't believe how I forgot about him. He was our third baseman from Sarasota. He was a beast. All those guys left. It was just their time for the draft. I think that year we had maybe 3 or 4 first rounders, and 2 of them were supplemental. And so it was a big hit. It was like a rebuilding phase after that. We lost Amari. I'm sorry?
The supplemental is is that a secondary draft that they do after the original draft?
No, so it was like just a step below the first round. So it wasn't like really, it was first round, but it wasn't like first round.
I got
first round money and like first round like hierarchy.
An additional pick after the first 30 picks or whatever it is.
Yeah, I believe so. All the technicalities of all that stuff, if you ask me, I'm gonna flunk it, because I don't know any of that.
I know what you mean now. I was thinking
they don't have that anymore, by the way, which is super fucking sad. Excuse my language, but
we'll talk about the draft in a little while. I don't know if you heard how it's changing this year, but I wanted to talk to you about it. I got that lined up for later, because it's changed a lot for this year. 2010, you guys 43-20. Yasmani Grandal's ACC Player of the Year. I'll tell you a funny story about him in a minute. I can't even read my writing here. Oh, here's what I wanted to say. You guys went all 3 years that you were there to that tournament, which sounds like, but they actually, the last 3 years, they've only been one. So like, that's not like a given. So, that's pretty special. Every year you were there, you guys got to do that, which must be like a cool extra. Maybe you guys are expecting to do it since you're UM, but it's an extra thing you guys get to do. Right?
You're talking about the ACC?
Yeah, the tournament actually is what I'm talking about.
The ACC tournament.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it definitely was something that it was kind of like I guess what we can call maybe the March Madness like type deal of us. But it was super strategic because you had to line your pitchers up and all that stuff. And by the end of the tournament, you didn't want to waste your arms because of what was potentially maybe coming in after, whatever you had to do. So it was very touch and feel at those tournaments. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't our and now I'm really going back. That wasn't our goal. That was just an extra. That was like I guess how do you call it? It was a product of what we were working towards. So at the end of the day, it wasn't what we were trying to achieve.
So for those people, and maybe I'm one of those people, tell me exactly how it goes. Regular season, and you win your division, or that's your first goal, right? To win your division?
Yeah.
What are the next stages that you have to go through until you can become champion? What does a team have to go through?
So you wanted to host the regional tournament. You wanted to host a regional tournament, so you had like home field advantage. And if you were lucky enough, and if you were seeded, high enough, where you can hold super regionals, which is what we did for my freshman year in 07-08, that was like you were in the driver's seat. I don't know if you've ever been to UF, but like having to go and play at somebody else's home turf was just like, not that it was like oh, like we're gonna lose, but it wasn't home field advantage. Everybody wants that. So what we did in 07-08 was perfect. But yeah, the whole situation and our goal was to at least host one of the tournaments, which is either super regionals that came first or super regionals, so that we had advantage at one of them. And we can push forward towards Omaha. And now I think it's something else. I don't know what it's called now.
So it's regional, and then that final tournament, and then the last bit of that tournament is the College World Series.
Exactly. Yeah. So
through all that in 08, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we went through all that. That was, God, it was it was great. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I have, dude. You mentioned a bunch of them already, like guys who, a bunch of guys who went on to play in the big leagues, like Jamil Weeks. I think he's played for 5 years. Alonso, who I think he's still playing.
Yeah, he's still in.
Yeah, Ryan Jackson, Chris Herman, catcher.
Chris Herman. Oh my God. Chris came later in like 09 and in 10. I think it's 10 actually when he came. He came with like it was like not a boatload, but it was like a group of guys and boys from Texas. God, Chris, if you're watching, please don't get upset. Chris has something called hyperhidrosis. Chris would wear a pair of batting gloves and they would be drenched in sweat because his hands were so sweaty.
Oh shit, yeah.
And he would have to like leave them on the dugout like rail for them to like dry and stuff. But he would go through like 2 or 3 pairs of batting gloves a game because of how much he sweat. But man, Chris is what a great dude. I mean, when he made it, I was like, holy smokes! I'm so happy for him because he's just very like low key, under the radar. Just did his stuff. Didn't like bug, like didn't mess with anybody. He just went about his business and look, I mean, he made it. Definitely something to like take note of. Like you don't have to be like the loud and flashy one to make it.
Right.
And to do well, like he's doing well for himself.
Yeah, that's awesome, bro. That those guys like that got those opportunities. Grandal obviously was on that team. I'm watching a baseball game with my dad one day in his house in Hialeah, and we're watching the Dodgers play. I don't know who. It's a few years ago when he was on the Dodgers, and he comes up to bat and he goes, mira, tú sabes que este es como un primo tuyo. I go, what? And then like my mom told me the story because she knew it a little bit better. I mean, it's very distant. He's like a very distant, but like my grandmother, I think, is like second cousins with his grandmother. So every time I watch him play, I'm like, yeah, that's my cousin. That's my cousin. But
That's awesome.
that's as close as I'll ever get to the big leagues.
That's awesome.
Um,
Yes, Manny and I kind of go way back too. We've been playing against each other since we were like maybe 14 or 15. We were always on like opposite opposing teams, and so we were always like trying to outdo each other. In high school, even like batting title wise,
where did he play in high school?
Miami Springs.
Okay, because I know his grandfather lived in Hialeah, I think, where my grandparents lived, but I didn't know where he played. Miami Springs is relatively close to Hialeah, but it's on like the other side of the canal.
The west side.
The good side.
The good side.
Dude, and while you were there, what's like being on campus like? Is there was some pretty good football players. I mean, the football program's not been what it used to be, but there was like I looked up, there was some pretty big at least guys that became pretty big later, like Jimmy Graham, Sam Spence, Lamar Miller, Alan Hearns. Graham actually played basketball too for a
Yeah,
little
he played basketball. It's funny, I got to see that transition because we worked out with each other. And so early on, when he was doing like drills and stuff like that, like balls would hit his hands and drop and stuff like that, and he was getting the feel for it. But it was definitely cool to watch him go from basketball, because I would go to some of the games as well, the basketball games, and move over to football. And it, I mean, I'm so happy. Whoever thought of that is a mastermind and a genius, because I mean that couldn't have worked out for him any better. And he's a solid human being, man. He's just so humble, so cool, down to earth, talks to anybody, and at the end of the day, is a tough son of a gun. Like like he's told me stories about like playing through injuries. Like I think he had a torn UCL, like Tommy John, and some other stuff at this like during when he was playing with the Saints. Is like guy just grinded out through it. But yeah, there was so it was what you said. It wasn't the same thing as prior years, but there were definitely some good players that were on the team, and it was fun to be around them. I mean, the baseball team got to hang out with the football team a lot because we worked out early in the morning, so we would collide like our workouts and stuff like that. And when we would do what was called Hell Week, 5 a.m. workouts and like running and pretty much punishment running, we'd be out there with them, and it's like pitch dark, 5 o'clock in the morning, Coral Gables, like the backfield's wet, soaking wet, and just like with dew and stuff, and you're out there doing all sorts of drills or 100-yard runs. It's crazy.
Let me take you back for a second. How was it when you were in high school and then you end up at UM? How did that work?
I was supposed to go to FSU, just to keep it short.
Oh shit! Thank God you
didn't. I was supposed to go FSU short. I'm glad that I ended up going. My dad is a huge UM fan. He's got like the national championship like sweaters that are like now like super faded thin because of how old they are. But just a hardcore UM's fan. But so obviously college was not the goal. College was never the goal. For me, out of high school, it was to get drafted. I had an opportunity. Me being an 18-year-old kid, and this is like to no offense to anybody in my circle, I really much didn't have the guidance. The choice was left to me, and being a young negotiator, I asked for some more money, and I never got a call back. And so then college was the option.
Is this when? Sorry to cut you off. Is this when the Nationals drafted you?
No.
No. Okay.
Yes. Excuse me. Yes, but it was prior to that. I got a call in the second round, and his story still hurts to this day. So, fuck, I'll say it.
You don't have to, man.
Wait, did you just say I don't have to?
You don't have to if you don't want to, of course, but you've already built it up. But
So, I think it was the second round that I got called from Boston. Laz Gutierrez, never forget him. I think he's a head coach now at Nova Southeastern, if I am not mistaken. He was with Boston, called me up.
I gotta get rid of this person. Hold on, I'll be right back.
No, no worries.
I'm listening though. Keep telling the story.
Okay, all right. Now I kind of feel weird because I'm not talking to anybody.
Gutierrez.
So Laz called me up. I believe it was the second round, and offered me a significant amount of money, over $500,000. Let's just say, let's leave it there. And I asked for $100,000 more. I remember this like if it was yesterday. I was walking outside the sidewalk, outside of my parents' house, and he says, "All right, I'll give you a call back." I never heard a call back. And so UM was like a byproduct of this. And furthermore, the approach from UM wasn't like the normal, "Hey, we want you to come play for us." It was a little semi-forced, but it ended up working out because of what they were offering for baseball and what I was getting for school because of my academics. Because if I didn't have A's and B's, my parents didn't let me play. Like that was like the rule in the house. And so not that I was the brightest, but I always tried to get it done no matter what. So UM ended up working out of FSU, which I had a full ride, and I was gonna be a two-way player over there, pitch and hit. Mostly start off pitching. Mostly start off hitting and playing first. LSU, Louisiana Lafayette, and then came UM. Like UM was like I'm saying, like it was like a far distant, like not even close. But it ended up working out at the end, and that's where I went. And
everything happens for a reason, dude.
Everything happened for a reason, yeah.
But that part of it being close to home had to be a big, or maybe not. I don't know, but it seems like
I couldn't have been happier. If I can do it again, I would have taken the money in the second round. I would have rode, hands down, and I would give that advice 20 times over to anybody that has the opportunity.
So the advice would be just sign.
Yes. So as a young kid, what happens in the system is that you get pushed and pushed and pushed, and you get so many opportunities in the minors, and they'll bring in big leaguers down, and they'll have them work with you. They'll have big league instructors, and they'll come work with you, coaches, and it's the right move. Because at the end of the day, if college was, or education is the reason why you want to go to a college, like, then just do it after you tried playing pro, because the opportunities aren't going to be the same coming out of college going into pro ball. You're already you're kind of like black sheep. Like if you don't make it within 2 or 3 years, like that window's pretty much gone for you, essentially, at the end of the day.
That makes a lot of sense, dude. You can always go back to school. You're absolutely right. There's no, "Oh, dude, you're already 30, man. I don't think you can handle it." You can always go back. People that are,
you can always go back.
But I get it. Your development, all that. There's a time period for that. That's finite, and if you don't take advantage of it, then yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
My career, I'm going to tell you real quick, my career, it lasted, it's not even an inning because I didn't get anybody out. I don't know what possessed my coach I played in the parks, right? The city parks.
Yeah.
So they would have the different seasons. I gave my pitching line last episode, but for anybody who didn't catch it, Um, I faced 3 or 4 batters. I'm not sure. I walked everybody. I had 1 strike. Only strike I got, the dude was batting, and I threw it behind his back, and it hit his bat.
No, I don't believe you.
Have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen that?
I've done it.
Okay, so I don't think it's rare, dude. I don't think it happens often,
It doesn't. It doesn't.
but I did it. So, anyways, I'm not sure why I told that story. I think I wanted to tell it at some point, and I forgot.
No, no worries.
Yeah, terrible.
So wait, hold on. Let's go back to the for a second for the story. You didn't get anybody out, so you walked the bases and then walked in a run.
You know, that's the part that's fuzzy because it was such a traumatic experience for me because I'm like, yeah, they put me in. It's my chance. So I don't remember exactly if it was 3 walks or if my coach let me try to get out of it or 4 walks. But I know, poor kid, dude, I scared the shit out of him because I threw it behind his back. It hit his bat. He didn't know what. He's like, what the fuck just happened, you know? And
Oh my goodness.
or the 4th guy. Eventually, I walked him, but that's the strike I got on him.
That's great. I used to do that. I was actually at one point I was notorious for coming in when pitching wasn't like the only, like when I hit mainly. But I would come in and I would walk the bases loaded. It was like something that I just did. And I just punch out the next 3. It was just like, boop, sit down, like don't worry about it. I just created this whole disaster. Let me get out of it.
I could have done that, and nobody told me that's what you had to do to get it afterwards. But those were fun. I love baseball, dude. I never had any skill, but I always my dad loves it, and that's the sport we used to watch at home. So like I always always have a soft spot. Even though nowadays, do you watch much baseball?
I do. I try and get around. Yeah. Yeah, I
background. If I'm doing stuff, you know, like I don't sit in front of the couch and watch the whole game. Like I'll be working and I'll have a an iPad, or something with the game on in the background, and then I'll glance over if something happens.
My dad sits at home and God bless his soul. He's a diehard like Miami fan. So Marlins, Heat, Panthers, like anything Miami, you name it. Like if it's on, he's watching it. So like he'll typically have the Marlins on, and it'll just be like in the background. But he'll sit there and watch it from start to finish if he's not super tired. But yeah, I try and catch games. I try and catch the Cardinals games, biased. Any other teams that like I know that's going to be a good fight. Boston Yankees, Chicago and the Cardinals are another good one. Just anybody that kind of like just the teams that stick out. Houston.
Do you have a team though? Like number 1 team?
I'm super biased when I say the Cardinals. I really don't. I don't. That's false for me to say. No, I don't have a team. I don't. That's
because of your affiliation to the organization, right?
Yeah. I mean, I love the organization for who they are and how they run things. But I really don't have a team. You know what? I like watching players. That's my thing. I like watching the Stanton. I like watching Judge, Baez. I like watching these guys. Cora. I like watching them play. Francisco Liriano's another one, a fun one to play. I know I'm ratting off Puerto Ricans, but it's I guess it's just part of it. But no, I mean players. I have a like affinity to them. They aren't. They aren't just taking it lightly. They're not taking a pitch off or an out off. They're always in it.
Yeah, Mike Trout is another amazing guy to watch.
He's such a beast. Oh my goodness!
Like, there's nothing that guy can't do, really. Okay, so dude, you're pitching 3 years at UM, and then you get drafted in again in 2010 by the Cardinals, and then you decide, all right, it's time to go pro. Tell me a little bit about that.
So anybody that knows anything, I threw, I think, and we can pull up, I'll pull it up another time, but I think I threw like 8 innings my junior year at UM. That's a story for a whole nother day, and it's not a nice one. Let's just leave it at that. After throwing 60 innings or 70 innings my sophomore year and my freshman year, I threw like 22, I think, and I got injured. My junior year, I threw, I think, a total of 8. The Cardinals drafted me because I did a high school workout with them, and this is what I was told. I kind of believe it, but I did a high school workout with them, and Dennis Martinez was my like umpire, like behind me, and that's how they drafted me. I mean, 30th round. Nobody really got to see me my junior year. I was like a ghost. Everybody thought I was hurt.
El presidente.
El presidente.
Oh wow.
Funny enough, I think he did a podcast yesterday. I'm good friends with Ricky. Shout out to Ricky Martinez. Ricky actually played with me in the minors with the Cardinals as well. But yeah, El Presidente was probably one of the most influential coaches to me when I was in high A and like throughout my career, period. That's again another story for another day. But I got drafted because of this workout apparently in the 30th round, and the situation that I was in at the time where I wasn't a good one, and it wasn't pretty. And so I said, this is my time to go, because if not, it'll be never, I think. And I still had the high school thing lingering in my head, and I was just like, I can't repeat the same mistake. And I took it, I ran with it. I lasted, I think it was 6.5 years or 5.5 years. I'm not mistaken. I don't know which one. It's kind of buried in the archives now for me. But I lasted a lot longer than what any 30th round draft pick would last. That's for sure.
Is the craziest part of the MLB draft the sheer amount of rounds that they are. And I don't even know how many of those guys that get drafted actually get past rookie ball or whatever, because where do you put them all? There's just 30. I mean, you got drafted in the 30th round, but there's how many rounds were there at the time? Do you know? 50 rounds. So
50 rounds.
You're talking 1,500 guys. Where do you put all those guys?
Yeah, and what doesn't get said and what gets left unsaid too is all the 16-year-olds that get drafted out of the U.S. from the DR, from PR, from South America, Colombia, Venezuela, that are already in those organizations like feeder, I guess we can call them feeder systems and feeder academies. It's an enormous amount of people at the end of the day. And some teams have or had like 6 or 7 like levels. Like what you said, it was like Dominican rookie, then Florida rookie, then short season, then it was, low A, high A, double A, triple A, big leagues. So Cardinals, and that was it. It was like 8 levels that you had to kind of surpass and to get through. And when I was
multiple, right? Like multiple double A teams. Is that right?
So high A, so levels like low A and high A were like pretty much the same. They were just split up so that there was more bodies in different places. But no, I think each organization and each affiliate has a single double A and a single triple A. And so, but below that, I think there's like rookie, short season college, short season like high school. Like it can get pretty wild when it comes to those type of levels or how many they are.
Did you hear that they're getting rid of some of them? Like
yeah, yes.
I believe there's a total of 160 or something affiliated clubs, and they're gonna go down to like 120. I think it's a financial issue. I'm trying to find my notes. I read an article about that. I just, dude, I kind of, my personal on the outside looking in kind of thing, as a baseball fan, I look at, I definitely see the importance of the minor leagues because, dude, almost everybody that's in the majors had to go through that. Very few. I think only a handful of guys, like, didn't do that. So why do we have so much money allocated to just the big league, and a lot of it? I don't begrudge anybody the money that they make, dude. Everybody go make all their money, but at the end of the day, sometimes a family that wants to go watch a ball game, it's really hard, dude, for the average family. But some dude's making 50 million a year. I don't begrudge that. But
no, I hear you.
What I'm saying?
It's a loaded question. No, it's a loaded question, but it's funny because I don't remember everything exactly or in its entirety, but I think if you pulled $1 million from a big leaguer, and like this was like done with like a couple of buddies and I that were in the Cardinal system. If you pulled 1 million from a big leaguer and distributed it through the entire minor leagues, what a minor league player made would have been much more significant for the whole year. 1 million. So on that topic of like the money and like who gets, that's a touchy one.
No, yeah, for sure. But you opened my eyes to that when we talked about, when you were telling me, and I've read about like there's even been lawsuits and stuff. I don't know if you know about that. Like,
yeah, the class action lawsuit.
Yeah, and I don't know. Like, I consider myself, I watch a lot of sports, but I kind of knew that, but I didn't really know because you guys get a bonus when you sign, right? Which is that's where you really get what you're gonna get.
Yeah,
right?
But you get chopped like 30% from taxes.
Okay, yeah. So you got to account for that.
Yeah.
There's maybe an agent involved, or
yeah, I had one at the time, and I gave him the boot right before because it didn't really go anywhere. But yes.
So there could be that too. And okay, after that, then you're kind of chasing that proverbial carrot, so to speak, to get to the big leagues. But in the meantime, you're working almost 6-7 days a week sometimes.
Yeah, pretty much.
And whoever tells me working, yeah, they're playing. No, but it's your time. You gotta
go. Yeah, it's not
be there.
Not playing, and it's not fun.
And when you calculate the hours for the amount of pay, it's not that great. So it's I don't think a lot of people are like privy to that.
No, I don't think a lot of people are aware of that or cognizant of that. I think I don't remember exactly the number, but I did it. Yeah, Jose's right. I'm sorry, I just saw that comment like flash up.
Yeah.
Which is a point that I'll make a little bit later, but I think I did it. I was fresh out of college, and I was math junkie or whatever. I always loved math, but it was like way below minimum wage. Like if you tallied up the amount of hours, which was anywhere between minimum 10 to like 13 hours that you were doing something that had to be related with, like if it was our job and our career, like how they, implanted in you at the end of the day, you were making like $4 or $5 an hour. Like if that.
It's great. When you told me that, I was like, wow.
It's super sad. Yeah, super sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like what Jose was just saying. Jose's a buddy of mine. So the guy that just left the comment, I'm going to give him a shout out real quick. Jose, I met him in the minors. I actually just helped him buy a house a couple months ago. Not a couple months ago, several months ago. But Jose and I met in the minors. He's Puerto Rican, and we just hit it off. And in the Texas League. Wow, the Tennessee short season league. in Johnson City, Tennessee. Imagine Puerto Rican, Puerto Rican in Johnson City, Tennessee. Woof! That was a fun experience. I had a host family that had an arsenal that could take down any zombie apocalypse that approached them. But it's super sad that if they get rid of these teams, it's like people like me that had an opportunity to like work their way, like they're not gonna have that anymore. And a friend of mine, Mike Malini, he's an agent down here in Miami, and he's big time. The guy's great person and a great agent. And he posted it when they were dropping the rounds, and I was like, this is crazy, man. But you gotta kind of find you gotta kind of find the light, somewhere else. And I was like, Mike, what about like overseas? And he was like, those are the options we're exploring, because they're gonna pay the guys overseas to go, and a lot of the guys just want to play and get paid for it, and so they're gonna take that route.
How many guys were on your roster on your minor league teams?
Oof. That's
Is it like a 25 or you got more?
No, 20. Did you say 25?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there was more. At least 30.
All right, let's just say 30 for our argument's sake. 40 teams. That's 1,200 players that all of a sudden don't have a spot, man. That's crazy.
And a lot of good players.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good players that I play with in the minors that definitely I mean, I guess I'm not anybody because I never made it, but at the end of the day, I believe that they were big leaguers. Big leaguers. Like it's baffling to me.
Well, you're too humble, dude. I mean, you played pro ball, dude. Like, think of the guys with my career. That one strike behind the back. A little bit. One of the things I like about minor league baseball is some of those team names, dude, are hilarious, dude. You played. I looked your stuff up a little bit. You played on what, the Muck Dogs? What is it?
Oh, I'm so happy that my stint there was super short. The Muck Dogs, yeah. Batavia, New York. It is like, it's like nothing out there. Like for a boy from Miami that's used to seeing, beaches. I really love like the minor league names though, and the hats. I have affinity to the hats.
Yeah. How about the Quad Cities River Bandits, which I love that whole name. You played with them too, right?
I played with them. So I left Batavia very quickly. Had a short stint with Batavia and went to Quad Cities, and like our mascot was like a what's it called, the raccoon, and it was great. The field was phenomenal. We had like a corn row from the bullpen you can run out from. It was like not overlooking, but the Mississippi River was behind us. It was a big stadium. It felt like you were like in a major league park to some extent. So it was fun going out, and the fans were fucking fantastic. The fans were great. Like, fans would show up Sundays on like scorching hot days, like 95, 100, and humidity up, like, and the fans were there. So it was a very fun place to play for and to play at. And the facilities were good, but like not everywhere was like that. Like Johnson City, Tennessee, the locker room had brown reclusas every other day, and like you had like metal lockers that were like falling apart. Batavia was another one where like you would go and like the locker room smelled like just black mold everywhere. So it was really nice to be in the higher levels. Obviously, the higher you went, the better everything got.
Is that considered? Because I'm not big on. I've watched some minor league games, but I'm not like schooled on it. But that's one name that I hear a lot. That's considered one of the bigger? Like you always hear about the Durham Bulls. That's what, like, is that considered one of the bigger minor league teams? The Quad Cities.
Quad Cities, yeah. Yeah, so I think that Midwest League has another team, which is, if I'm not mistaken, it's the Cincinnati Reds. Excuse me, the Dayton Dragons, where they're like sold out. Like the entire year, the season, they're already sold out even before the season even starts.
Wow.
So I think the fan base is a lot stronger in that area of the U.S. and just people enjoy it and people come out. I think there was one. I think there was one night where if you got a tattoo of the mascot, you got to get in for free for like the next year, and people did it. There was like people lined up and getting tats in the in the breezeway and like getting tatted up and like so like they can just come for free and enjoy the games.
The minor league promotions are definitely like the most interesting.
They're top of the line, man.
I never heard of that one, but that definitely sounds like a minor league type promotion that they would have.
Oh yeah. But yeah, the Lehigh Iron Pigs, yeah. But the Dragons, the Dayton Dragons, is something impressive. Like you should look it up at some point when you get a chance. And I don't know how it was, but like now, but when it was back then, it was pretty impressive. Like that was the other team to play against, so that you can be in front of a huge crowd.
Let me see if I can look up any of these stadiums as you're talking about them. My technical skills are not the best sometimes when I'm doing this. Let's see. All right.
There you go. Look at the stadium.
Dude, that's a nice stadium, bro.
Yeah, so they have dragons that like breathe fire like in like center field. It's unbelievable. It's dope. It's so crazy.
Hey, Roger Dean's pretty nice too, though, man.
Yeah, but nobody goes out.
I went one time to watch spring training, and I remember saying, "Man, if I lived closer, I'd go to a game, but you know, it's not that close to me."
Yeah, it's like I think from you and from us, it's like an hour and a half, hour 45 drive going. But yeah, no, Roger Dean definitely was is a beautiful stadium. Again, great facilities. Obviously, it was the major leagues spring training, so it was fun. It wasn't always packed. It didn't have like that fan base that Quad Cities had.
Right. You had that real experience.
And then when you got into Springfield AA, which I had the pleasure of playing in, that's a whole nother level. So it was in Missouri. So St. Louis was like, I think, a 3.5 hour drive or whatever. I did that one day, going and coming, and it was pretty tough. But the stadium in Springfield was always packed. Always packed. Didn't matter what day. It was so great. Jose saying, check out Greenville Drive Ballpark.
Okay, let's check it out. So when you were playing in that park that was near the Cardinals, the fan base, I imagine, was much stronger because you're in like Cardinals country there, right?
Yeah, immediate like territory, like Cardinals territory. Yeah, it was great. And I mean, a lot of our guys made jumps from AA to the big leagues. A lot. Significant
stadium,
amount. I'm sorry?
Is this the stadium here that he's talking about?
Jose, is that it? I don't know. I've never seen nor heard of that park. I mean, there being so many in the minors.
It reminds me of Camden Yards a little bit.
It does. I was just gonna say it does.
And semi-green monster they have there. That's a nice park.
Yeah, the one in Fort Myers that shit. Who has it? I think it's the Twins that have it. Is it the Twins?
Well, the Twins are in Fort Myers, and I think you also have the Red Sox in Fort Myers.
Red Sox, yes. It's a mini. It's a mini replica.
Right, of Wrigley. Not Wrigley. Of Fenway.
Fenway.
Jesus.
I saw the guy that came out of college. I don't know his name. This is a reliever. He was a closer. He came in and he hit. Is it Alemni Diaz? that we had for the Cardinals that now he's with Cuban guy, whatever.
Yusniel Castillo,
No. God, Lee, I can't believe I forgot his name.
What position?
He was a shortstop. He was with the Cardinals. He came up with me.
I know who you're thinking about. Jesus.
God, Lee. Anyways, this guy that came out of Louisville. Right? I'm sorry?
Good hitter?
Yeah, good hitter. Yeah, good hitter. Guy that came out of Louisville. He was drafted that year. Guy throws 100 or something. Big, white, like stocky dude. Ended up hitting Diaz with a hit by pitch, and the bench is cleared. It was mayhem because the kid just like stood there on the mound and was like, what are you gonna do? And everybody just went full force at him. Everybody, both teams like just cleared. I'm pretty sure it's 11. God, Lee, now I want to know. Shit.
How many of those were you involved in?
Oof.
Like brawls or scuffles?
I would say like I can count them on both hands, like probably like eight or nine.
Serious? Because you have two types of baseball brawls, right? You have
the pushing.
Yeah, or like you find a buddy on the other team. And
yeah.
And then there's some that get nasty, you know that.
Yes. Fists were thrown on that one because Diaz was like a high. I'm sorry?
I said that doesn't always happen. Sometimes.
No, that doesn't always happen. But like everybody felt like this guy was going after him, and so Diaz is definitely he was at the time like a higher. He was like a prospect, and he was like somebody to like. He was just coming through our team just to get like warm up and get like at bats and stuff, and like to get like in the groove again. And when they hit him, he dropped his bat and was like, "I'm ready." Like I was standing on the mound like this, and everybody just said, "All right, let's go." But yeah, a lot of them end up being like pushing, and you just try and find somebody on the team that you know.
One more. You played on the Wichita Wingnuts, which I like that name too, right?
Yeah, Wingnuts, the tail end of my career. Not good. I was not good.
You didn't have good fun time there?
No, I had a fun time. Like baseball wise, statistically, it wasn't a good time. I had just gotten done with throwing sidearm. So on the last season of the last season and a half or 2 seasons with the Cardinals, I was throwing like from like sidearm, like C-check. And when I went to the Wingnuts, I decided I wanted to come up top to see if I can grab more velocity again and to find myself, to maybe give myself another chance to get and play affiliate ball. I couldn't find myself. I was lost. It was a great time, great group of guys. Golly. If I thought the minors were bad, like independent league could be bad. Independent league could be bad. There's some stadiums that have good facilities and other stadiums that are just just rags. But that's where I quit on baseball.
Independent, for people watching that don't know, is a minor league, but they're not affiliated at all with MLB. St. Paul Saints is like the main one that I know, right?
Yeah,
that's like the biggest
one.
one.
Yeah, they're the bigger boys. Yeah.
So it's just professional baseball, but not affiliated with MLB. Dudes can get taken off there to go on MLB rosters or MLB minor league teams.
Yeah.
All right, just for whoever doesn't know what that is.
I got to give a shout out to my friends that are probably watching, and I think that are watching. Zach, Colby, Mike, Eddie. I was just over there hanging out with them, and they're like, "You better give us degenerates a shout out." I was like, "Okay."
Oh yeah, man.
I love you guys. And my parents, my dad sent me a text. He was like, "Stop drinking and stop swearing." He sent me a text. He's probably disappointed in me, so I'll probably have to catch up with him 2 or 3 days from now. That guy.
I have a couple more things, man. You have time to keep going?
Absolutely. I'm enjoying this so much. It's not even funny.
All right, I got time, dude. I'm good. I'm not getting through all the material because there's a lot of other stuff. But it's if you have time, we'll keep going. Cool.
Yep.
I want to ask you. We talked a little bit about how when you were coming up, you were you ended up being like a pitcher, but you were also in the field and hitting. What did you like more? Do you like more being on the mound, or you prefer to be on the field and in the lineup?
Hitting. Hitting was my art.
That's why you put it on that resume, dude. Because
I fucking love hitting, and to this day, I still love hitting. Hitting is such, man. I can't even explain it in words. But if I had a chance to do it all over again, I would try hitting, and then if not, I would switch over and start pitching, which I saw done multiple times in the Cardinals. Again, what I've seen and what I know.
Eel, right?
I'm sorry?
Well, he did it the other way around.
He did it the other way around, but what's it called? Jason Mott. He was a catcher turned pitcher. Big shot.
Jansen, you know Kenley Jansen of the Dodgers?
Yes.
Catcher, and now he's premier closer. So.
Yeah. So we had a young Samoan. I think. I hope I said that right, Sam. I'm sorry. His name is Sam Tuivalala. I'm pretty sure he plays for Seattle now. Sam has a cannon of an arm. And he was third baseman turned pitcher. Sam, I'm sorry. I'm gonna disgrace you a little bit. He couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. but Sam is a beast, and another just a young kid, just awesome, just a great athlete. Trevor Rosenthal, which I got very close with in the Cardinals. Awesome. He was a shortstop, and coming up, he ended up being a pitcher. That is not Trevor. That's Trevor. That's Trevor. Yep. Funny enough, Trevor, and I hope they're married. Maybe I shouldn't say it. Trevor came back from, I think it was an Outback Steakhouse one night, and we were in Johnson City, Tennessee, and he goes, "I'm going to marry that girl." And he told me this in Bristol, and they ended up getting married.
Wow.
I don't know if they're still together now. But he ended up telling me that, and he was coming off an injury, and the first 3 pitches that he threw were 95, 96, 97. So Trevor had a live arm. Trevor threw like 100 like on a consistent basis. Such a good kid too, man. I mean, I got to meet so many great guys there.
More amazing than that 100-mile-per-hour is that he freaking picked out that girl and he actually married her. That's even more shocking, dude.
Yes, man. Yes. Yes.
All right, Eden, I am a nostalgic guy in general, so I'm going to ask you. I've seen some videos and stuff where you kind of like the prankster with the pie and the talcum powder and shit like that. Is that what you miss most? The locker room camaraderie, or what do you miss the most about being part of baseball in that sense?
That having a group of friends to lean on and to hang out with and to I'm blessed to have a group of friends. I called them out earlier that I lean on and I hang on to at times. Not always. There's a lot of personal stuff and there's a lot of like business stuff that I just I try and keep to myself. I don't tell any of my bullshit to anybody. I try to deal with my own stuff, but I miss that a lot. traveling, even the traveling sucked, but I mean, you still got to see other parts of the nation. I mean, at the end of the day, all in all, I mean, the experience was great. You you know, if you're trying to be a ball player, at the end of the day, you know that going into it, you're gonna be dealt shitty hands over and over again, and so you either man up or you go home, and you get to see different parts of the nation, and you get to experience different things, and you run with it. But yeah, I met some good friends, and I miss them a lot. I don't see them every day. I barely talk to them. I'm terrible. I'm a terrible friend. I don't I don't follow up or like reach out a lot. I don't know why. I really don't. Maybe I should start doing it, and maybe I'll make it a point to. But
Good.
yeah, I don't follow up enough, man, and it sucks because Ricky Martinez. I named him earlier. Dennis's son. We hung out all the time. Aiden Lucas, which is a good buddy of mine, that if he hadn't gotten food poisoning in West Palm Beach, I wholeheartedly believe he would have been a big leaguer. Drew Bennis, his dad was a big leaguer. His uncle was a big leaguer as well that I played with on the Cardinals. I don't call them enough, man. And we hung out for years, 4 or 5 years, and I do. I miss that a lot.
Well, maybe you're realizing now that you got to make some calls tomorrow on a Sunday.
Yeah,
That's good, man.
I think I am. Yeah,
Forget about that. For real, dude. I did it a little bit now with this whole stuff going on because you're home more, and then you miss maybe, you have your inner circle, But I reached out to some people that I hadn't talked to in a while. So it's always good to reach out to somebody when you don't need them too. It's nicer, because sometimes you don't talk to somebody and you're like, I don't want to call him because I'm gonna ask. He's gonna think I'm calling him because I need something. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah.
That can get weird too.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I think I'm gonna take that advice and definitely make a few calls tomorrow. That's for sure.
Why not, dude? What's the worst that can happen? I know while you were at UM, I read you were like the Sunday starter one season. So you pitched, you opened, you started games. Did you have a preference when you were pitching, whether you'd be starting or bullpen, or did?
I think I realized after that year that not at that point in time, obviously. At that point in time, I think I realized that I liked the mess. I liked the mop up. My freshman year, that's what I was used for. My freshman year, I think my first outing, I had guys on first and second with 1 out, and I got called in, and they were like, "All right, try not to like have anybody score," and that's what happened. And I think that like that pressure and that moment is what I like the most. Like I said, and I wasn't playing around. There was times where I would walk a couple people, and I'd create this scenario, and then I think subconsciously something would like click, and I'd go in, and it would change, and everything would be like, okay, well, here's what we were looking for, and out. But yeah, I like the mop up stuff. I liked when things were dirty and like I need to clean them up, and I got good at it. Throughout like my career, I just got better and better. Nothing really fazed me. Now starting was a different animal. I never really believed in my abilities to pitch because I always hit, and I recognized myself like me internally like as a thrower, and I threw hard. So I never really like felt like I had like really good mechanics, and so my accuracy wasn't always the greatest until even when I got done playing, it wasn't the best. When I got done playing is when I realized what the hell I needed to do to actually make stuff happen. So then I was like, all right, I'm gonna start training people, but I like the mop up in short.
So give us a chance to win. You like that scenario? Get in the game. Give us a chance to win. Hold it down. Let's see if we can get some runs. And don't be modest, dude. You were throwing in the 90s, man, right?
I'm sorry, I have some sushi, but yeah.
Eat. Help yourself.
So I got away from it. I used to do this thing that I'd throw 88 on the black, 89 inside, and then I'd just scorch one up and hit 92, 93, 94. And I got away with it, got away from it when I went to college for some reason. I don't know. But it worked so well. But while I was at UM, I sat 90, 91, 92. And whenever I wanted to, I'd pump it up to 93, 94. My junior year, I hit 95 on a couple occasions because of the lack of like work that I had. My arm was fresh. So I'm pretty sure it was, me taking care of myself and me not throwing. So all the frustration and stuff came out.
Dude, I did a little bit of research here. And I'm going to ask you first before I give the answer. If you were to guess, and I checked a random log, I didn't go that deep, but I ended up checking a pretty good one. What team do you think you played against in college or in the minors that ended up having the most future major leaguers in it? What team would you say?
Twins.
The Twins
had the most major leaguers?
Huh?
Had the most major leaguers?
Yeah.
Twins, high A. Or Marlins. Sorry, Marlins, high A as well. That year was stupid. So Marlins had Ozuna, Yelich, Jose Fernandez, my goodness, El catcher, Realmuto, the other catcher that was a backup that he played for somebody else. My God. The Marlins, actually, now I'm going to change my position. The Marlins.
Okay, do you think they had 8 out of 9 batters in MLB?
In that team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I found one that had 8 out of 9, which to me was surprising because from everything I've ever heard or read, like 10% maybe, 10% maybe, which is really one guy in the lineup maybe makes it, or maybe none. Maybe it's the pitcher that makes it, 1 out of 10 dudes.
Yeah.
And you played this team a lot in 2015, and they had most of the time 8 out of 9 dudes in the lineup that ended up making it in MLB.
What team was it?
The Northwest Arkansas Naturals.
No way.
Because I know what you're saying. You're thinking star power. Maybe these guys are not as many stars, but most of that lineup, I'll read you the names, ended up, at least for a while, playing in the MLB roster.
Yeah.
And they're Kansas City Royals affiliate.
Yeah.
Ramon Torres, Adalberto Mondesi, Jorge Bonifacio,
Yep.
Alex Liddy, Buzz Starling, Hunter Dozier.
Oh my God. Hunter Dozier.
Frank Swindell. And that's 8 right there, dude. Not maybe to the level of those Marlins players, but they made it to an MLB roster at some point. And the log I checked, I'll pump you up a little bit. I'm gonna pump you up a little bit here.
I was just gonna say, but I'm gonna let you say it.
You went 3 innings, dude. 3 innings and middle relief. The starter, I'm not gonna put him out there. He got lit up, whoever the starter was, and with good reason. That's a good lineup. So you came in and you gave your team a chance to win. Just a couple of hits, 4 strikeouts, no runs. But I thought that was interesting. 8 dudes.
That's crazy. I didn't even ever realize that. I didn't ever realize that. I do remember facing them a lot though, and and there was one game, and this is me, I'm my worst critic. I think I ended up giving a home run to Hunter. Hunter Doja. We used to make fun of his last name, but I hung a changeup and he crushed it, and that was the game. But I do remember facing them a lot. Bonifacio, I faced him a ton. I used to get him out on changeups all the time. He was always hunting fastball. But yeah, I remember. Damn, that's crazy. That's so. And so then I'm gonna bring you back to like the Marlins and stuff, because the Twins in High A had Sano and el otro Boricua that I think he's Puerto Rican, big guy, first baseman. And they had Rosario. Like that Twins lineup had some.
Did they have Buxton, or that was later?
They had Buxton at the time as well. Golly, why am I forgetting his name? Well, they had Sano, Rosario. There was another big dude that was a masher. They had Buxton. They had another hunter in there as well. I remember there's a hunter there that would give people problems, but that lineup was legit as well as the Marlins.
Dude, have you ever this is going to be the dumbest question I ask, okay? Before we wrap it up in a little bit. Have you ever, I know I'm only asking this because I know I would. Have you ever said, you know what, I'm gonna start throwing the ball, I'm gonna make a comeback? Have you ever thought about that? Has that ever crossed, that thought's never crossed your mind?
All the time.
It would cross my mind all the time.
All the time. Because so I play Friday night softball now.
Okay. Cool.
Hopefully the COVID opens up that we can start playing again. But when I started throwing the softball around, it felt like my arm was like stronger than ever. And I'm slinging the softball and I'm throwing it like from dead center to home on a line, and I'm like, shit, like maybe I can do this again. Maybe I can pick it up. Maybe I can pick it up. I take care of myself, maybe get myself in shape, start running. I can be like that movie where the guy comes back and starts throwing 100 or 92, 93 and plays for the Rays.
Yeah. Jim Morris, I think was his name, or
yeah.
Which is a cool movie.
Yeah, absolutely. He was a teacher, I think.
Yeah, he promised his team if they made or won the championship, he'd try out. And he ends up trying out, and the Rays. He had played minor league ball, but had some arm trouble, and then he ended up harder, and he actually ended up making it to the big leagues and playing a couple seasons with the Rays. So that's kind of why I asked the question, because of that movie and all that. So.
But yeah, it crosses my mind often.
Speaking of going back to a sport and doing it later, you know better than anybody probably, and a lot of people will give this guy flack. Have you seen The Last Dance at all? Are you a basketball fan? The Michael?
No, I haven't seen it. I've heard about it. But
Are you a basketball fan at all?
Nah, watch it.
All right. You probably would enjoy it anyways, even if you're not a big basketball fan. But to me, some of the more impressive things about Jordan are, in basketball, I'm like way more impressed with like his last 2 years in the Wizards as a 40-year-old player, still averaging 20 points a game. I'm like, dude, that's unheard of. You know, all-stars, maybe not Hall of Famers, but like really good players don't average 20 points a game in their prime. He did it at 40, and then he said, all right, I'm going to give it up. You know, I'm not good. But besides that, his baseball career, the guy had never, he had played in high school. 12 years later, he gets put into Double-A, which, you know, people may say that's minor leagues. Dude, he's in Double-A with like guys that are on the cusp of being on a major league.
Yeah, that's the little big leagues. Yeah.
And he hit 200, which some people may be like, 200. Dude, that was his first year. He hadn't played in 12 years. I'm really impressed with what he did, and a lot of people write it off, you know, like he failed. But
Yeah, I was fairly young when that actually happened. I believe 90s, maybe in the 90s, if I'm correct. But
90.
hearing that stat that he hit 200 and not having played for 12 years and being thrown in Double A, that's pretty fucking good. That's pretty good. At the end of the day, like Double A is like the little minor leagues. Like that's where everybody that is like how you said knocking on the door is oh, you're pulling up the baseball reference.
Yeah, hell yeah. So check it out, dude. 1994. He plays a full season, 127 games. I imagine that's a full season.
Yep.
And he hits 202, 51 RBIs, 3 homers, light hitting big dude, but
Yeah.
he stole 30 bases. He's learning, dude, to
That,
play. He's really
yeah.
learning.
Yeah.
Not,
That
I don't there's no way
yeah.
I look at that and I'm like, oh man, he failed.
Yeah, I can't talk smack about that. That's great. That's amazing.
His manager at the time was Terry Francona. He said if you would have given him another year or two, he would have made it to the big leagues.
He-
Obviously, he's not going to be the Michael Jordan of MLB, but he would have held down a roster spot,
yeah.
which that's saying something, dude.
All in itself, that is saying something all in itself. Absolutely. Yeah, and to give props to all the to position players out there. That's not easy, man. Playing almost every game or every game of the season. Like I had buddies that I was friends with position players, and man, these guys are beat up halfway through the season or early on in the season. They're beat up and they're fighting an injury the rest of the season, and they're dealing with a nagging pain, and they're playing through it. I mean, those guys give a lot. They deserve a lot of props, and I give them, and I always gave them a lot of props. Somebody made a play behind me, I was like, "Yo, thank you, appreciate it." And if they messed up, I was like, "Don't worry about it. I know you got it next time," because like they needed that. one one of my one of my parents and one of my the kids that I used to train, Kevin, just gave me a shout out.
Shout out to Kevin.
What's up, Kevin?
Did you ever play with a pitch clock, dude? That was something I wanted to ask you because I heard that's something they're trying out in the minors.
Yeah, and I think in high A they had it for a little bit, and then in Double A they tried to enforce it, but everybody was fairly good with it for the most part. It was non-existent, but it was dumb because if you didn't pitch, you just stepped off, and the clock restarted.
Oh,
So it was like what was the point of it at the end of the day? You know what I mean? The point was to speed up the game. Man, we had a guy. I think he's still in the big leagues, but we had a guy. It was so nice to watch him pitch. He was a starting pitcher in the minors, Seth Maness. Seth would like grab the ball, throw, grab the ball, throw. I don't know, something crazy. But he would like average like maybe like 5 or 6 pitches an inning and get ground ball outs. He was like a single baller. Little right hand guy, just dealt the ball well. Yep, there he is. Seth.
I love those guys, dude.
Yeah, he was great. He would make a 9-inning game go in like an hour and a half. Seth, oh my god,
nothing better than a dude who gets that ball and he's pitching. I mean,
what's up, Alessandro? Sorry, I'm reading the comments. Another Alessandro's a little prodigy of mine. His dad and I linked up a while back, and a little lefty. Anyways, he just little guy that strokes the ball. Now he's pitching, which is dad was like super like worried about like him being a pitcher. He didn't never wanted to be a pitcher, and now he's pitching in little league and he's crushing it. But yeah, going back to Seth, man, Seth would throw games in like an hour and a half. Like starting pitcher Seth, yeah, like the locker room would go ballistic. They were like, oh, this is gonna be a quick game. Get ready. People would start making plans for like the night because they knew that they were gonna get home early. It was the best.
He was a teammate of yours?
Yeah, Seth. Yeah. Seth was in high A with me,
Okay.
and I saw him for a little bit in Double A. Yeah, he was in West Palm Beach. Yep.
Okay, cool.
West Palm Beach. He was in Quad Cities as well. I think I played with him.
I wanted to talk to you about the draft real quick, man. Did you hear that they're gonna shorten it to 5 rounds now, and they put this on the coronavirus, and 2021 is gonna be 20 rounds, and then after that, teams can go ahead and sign an unlimited amount of undrafted players for $20,000 each. I don't understand that part. Maybe you can school me on the 20,000. Does that mean that becomes their signing bonus, or that 20,000 is their salary, or how does that work? Maybe you can fill me in on that part.
Yeah, what it sounds like is like 20,000 is going to be their salary. I mean, excuse me, not salary. Their signing bonus. Excuse me, not their salary. The salary is going to be like our minimum wage topic, which each level it increases a little bit. But I think in Double A I was making like I think it was like 14 or 1,500 or 1,600 maybe max every 2 weeks, or yeah, something like that. But at the end of the day, yeah, it sounds like 20,000 is going to be the signing bonus, which equates to being like a 30th or 40th, 50th round draft pick at the end of the day, which is ridiculous. The fact that they're cutting the draft is very sad because of all this that's going on. At the end of the day, that means this year there's going to be somebody like me that had that opportunity that's not going to get that opportunity. And yeah, somebody like me becomes a body at the end of the day for the organization, and just somebody to eat up innings, eat up space, whatever. They don't really see him in the plans of making it to the big leagues, but they're not going to get that opportunity. So I don't know, how it's going to play out at the end of the day. It definitely sucks because having the opportunity of just playing for some people is like means the world to them. For me, it was like a byproduct of what I had done all my life. Making it was not making it was like the letdown. Like that was my goal. My goal was to like make it. I played with everybody that Eric Hosmer, Mike Moustakas, fuck, Yasmani Grandal, Yonder Alonso. Like I played with all these guys, Matt Dominguez. Like I played with them, Hank Conger, and it's like I was on that same level, but I never made it. So that was like kind of like the.
You got some of those guys out too.
I did get some of those guys out.
and sometimes that's the luck of the draw too, right? Like, who knows what happens on the MLB roster? I mean, I looked at your numbers, dude. Your numbers are pretty damn good. Like you're a phone call away, sometimes. Yeah. So, I feel you, dude. It's a random thing sometimes, like
yeah,
what happened, and you're
exactly.
there.
No, absolutely. But yeah, that's a sad thing. I hope they bring those rounds back because one, it'll help them anyways if they keep all the other minor league teams open, and two, it just some of those guys deserve those opportunities because they've worked hard for it. This is not something that you just pick up, in spring training and you just go after it. No, like you get done with your season, you give yourself a month off, and then you start training and you start like getting back into baseball shape.
No, yeah, the fact that we already talked about the pay once they're playing, it's almost like another blow to these kids. Like now all of a sudden you're not getting X amount of dollars. Everybody becomes a 30th rounder, I think you said, or something like that. So everybody in round 6, 7, all the way to 29 gets put into that 30th round category, which it's it's not really the same thing. So man, I think they need to find a way to like even out that playing field where it's enough, because really I just want 1 million. That's what I want. I want 1 million. If I get 1 million, dude, that's it. So, like, how much does your life really change after 1 million, or two, or three, or four, or five, or six? It's just how many of each thing do you have? How many houses do you have? How many cars do you have? So like your life doesn't really change that much. What's his name? The Dalai Lama. He says even the richest man, he can only be in one room at a time. He can't enjoy all those things. He can only enjoy one room at a time. So I think it's kind of disgusting, dude. The pay difference between like being right there and not being there, where they could do something. They could afford to do
They
something.
can do something. Something can be done. There's
Yeah.
there's money in baseball in every way, shape, or form. Real quick, shout out to Mama Jane. She just left me a comment. Mama Jane is she's my host mom that I ended up going to the Cape Cod Summer League, the famous I guess is it Summer Catches, the movie. So Mama Jane was my host mom.
Nice.
Just and Tom is her husband. I used to call him Thumb. But the Shields, they're great, just awesome people. And
Talk about that real quick. That's when you graduate high school. You go there, or when do you go there?
so that was my. So you go after your college season. So after your college season, there's these summer leagues that take place that some people don't even know about. And so that summer league is Cape Cod is actually one of the higher and like prestigious, like more prestigious leagues in baseball for summer, like collegiate, like summer ball. And I got a chance to go after my freshman year, and I met the Shields, and they were great. They hosted me the entire summer, and I actually ended up going back. I think it was the summer or two after to visit. Actually, it was the next summer with my parents, and it was a great time. Brewster is the city in Cape Cod that I played for.
So you end up staying in their house.
I ended up staying in their house. So I was like a soldier, and like that was my barrack, and they were fantastic. So at the time, excuse me, I was good friends with Yonder, and Yonder got me tickets to a Boston's Yankees game. So imagine Fenway Park, Boston and Yankees, like ultimate rivalry. And so Mama Jane said, "Here, I think she gave me. This might be a NCAA violation. So thanks, thank God I'm out of baseball. I don't remember exactly. I think she handed me like $200 or like $120. I was like, here, take the car and go into the city, stay with Megan, which is her daughter. She's in the city, and you can stay with her after the game, crash, have fun, and then come back and drive up the next day, whatever." Like
Awesome.
a complete stranger, like just like said here. But that's the type of people that they are. They're
Out again, Mama Jane.
Yeah, shout out to Mama Jane. Yeah, I love them. I mean, we try and keep up with them as much as we can. I definitely need to make a trip back to the Cape, and but yeah, they were amazing, and that experience in itself was fantastic too. Like playing in Jan Gomes. Golly, I can't believe I haven't dropped that name yet. Jan was a catcher and a teammate of mine at Southridge, and I played against Jan in the Cape. He ended up getting a single off of me. He had a frozen rope off me, but yeah, I played with Jan, growing up and going through the levels as well. Now my parents are taking over the comment section. My parents had a good time in Cape Cod.
Dude, and you played in Puerto Rico too one time, right? Or maybe multiple times? I'm not sure. School me on that.
So I played 1 year, 2 months or so. Another kind of like goal that that was like very close to me. I played for Los Gigantes de Carolina, and then I ended up getting traded midway through the season to Los Senadores de San Juan.
Hold up, time out. So you go there to play. So the Cardinals send you there, right? Is that right? No.
All right. So if you're a native of like Venezuela, Venezuela has their summer league, or excuse me, sorry, not summer, winter league.
Sorry, that's my.
No worries. If you're a native of Venezuela, you typically like play because like it's your home, state, country, and like you like that's where you can like. Colombia has one, so Puerto Rico has one, and so it's like a time where if you're not drafted and you're not playing affiliate, it's a time for you to try and get drafted and play affiliate. And if you are, it's a time to kind of like try and hone your skills and get better or work on things. I played with D. Gordon in Carolina. I played with El Pulpo. Golly, I'm forgetting his name. Francis
Antonio Fonseca.
Antonio Fonseca. I played with some big leaguers, some ex big leaguers. God, I can't even remember. Like,
I saw the D. Gordon thing. You beat me to that. I had that in my notes.
Yeah, D was great. So D and Fonseca were like two peas in a pod, and so Fonseca played with D's dad, I believe, and so Fonseca was kind of like the godfather. Yeah, Flash Gordon. Yeah. So Fonseca was kind of like the godfather, looking out for little Gordon, and but yeah, I can't believe I forgot this. Hector, I played with Hector Santiago. Hector Santiago ended up playing with the White Sox and then broke out with the Angels as well. Lefty, like, golly, electric stuff, man.
Is this Gigantes de Carolina?
Yeah, Gigantes de Carolina. Hector threw and throws a screwball. There's like, I don't even know what the percentage of screwball pitchers are in the big leagues. Not a lot, but this guy throws one, and it's nasty.
Valenzuela was one, Fernando Valenzuela, but yeah. I don't remember too many. So is that like a mix of prospects, older players, and dudes coming off injuries and local players?
You got it. You nailed it. That's exactly what it is.
Sounds exactly like what it is. It sounds like a fun league because you get like a dude like D. Gordon. You told me the whole spectrum: D. Gordon and Antonio Fonseca, and that's just.
Yeah. There was another guy that played with the Marlins. I can't remember his full name, but De Rosario or something like that. This guy was was he a lefty? He was a pitcher, just a bullpen guy. Anyways, I'm just mentioning his name because this guy was scary. like I would not want to run into him in a dark alley because this guy was scary, bro. He was nothing to play with. God, who's our catcher then? We had I think, did we have Willie? No, Willie Nieves was with Los Senadores.
This is my boy Edwin in Puerto Rico.
Okay.
The comment section. Have you heard of some of these? And I promise we'll wrap it up soon here, next 10 minutes or so. I'm almost through my material. Some of these rules that they're talking about to bring baseball back, and maybe I'll take a bite. I'm going to read through some of them, and then you're going to give me your take on them. So, and this could be a few days old, so forgive me if I'm not like 100% up to date, but some of the things that we're talking about to bring baseball back, which, by the way, they brought it back in Korea. I watched a little bit of KBO baseball on ESPN real late at night or on the replay. They have Eduardo Perez and Carl Ravitch calling the games at home, on the monitor. They're watching it. They're not in the stadium, obviously. And it's been cool just to get a little baseball back. But MLB, this is some of the things they're talking about. No showers for the players, which I guess I could live with that, dude. All right, my car's going to stink. No taxis or no ride sharing, weekly testing of your immediate family and whoever's in your household. No talking between you and the first base coach or third base coach if you're on base. No hugs if you make like a big play or whatever. They're going to encourage fist bumps instead of high fives. No spitting, which I mean, if you don't have, that's part of baseball, spitting.
I was just gonna say they haven't been able to eliminate the tobacco and stuff. Like, how are they gonna eliminate that?
Yeah, but that's some of the main things. I don't know what else. I don't know how they could pull that off.
Yeah, I don't see that going over easy at all. Just to be plain and simple. I mean, I don't see, like, even the shower stuff. There's so many guys that are like clean freaks that they like and they want to shower. I had a coach that was very much that way. Bless his soul, Ace Adams, guy from Boston, and he had like 3 or 4 towels, and like he would get on the on the bus, and he'd lay them down, and he would shower after every game, and like do his thing. Like avoiding hugs, like you're gonna like stop somebody in the moment after they made a badass play or threw somebody out or struck somebody out or hit a bomb like to win the game. No, man, that's not gonna happen. Come on, let's be realistic. That's not realistic at all.
Dude, have you kept up with the it sounds like a challenge, dude. I hope they get it figured out somehow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, bring it back somehow. What do you think about this whole Astros thing, which I can talk to you about now because baseball hasn't happened really other than a few. My hat's all fucking crooked, dude. I can't get all this Astros. How would you feel as maybe let's say you're one of the opponents you played against these guys and your season, maybe not even that, just in general, what do you think about this whole situation? I'm sure you've kept up with it.
I'm not gonna go the whole situation route. I mean, I think it's bullshit at the end of the day. Like, that shouldn't have been done. Funny enough, when it first came out and I first heard about it, I thought they were like stealing signs. Like, somebody on second was stealing the signs from the pitcher and they were tipping the hitters off and stuff like that. But then when it got to like buzzers and like people like looking at cameras and relaying and stuff like that, that's bullshit. That's flat out wrong. Like, any other team could have done it too. So I mean, they just didn't, because obviously it's kind of like a unwritten rule. Like, you just don't you don't do that. If you're gonna tip somebody off because the pitcher lifts his finger when he throws a curveball or a changeup or a fastball, or like he sets his hands higher when he's throwing a breaking pitch, or he positions himself in a certain way or does a gesture when he throws a pitch, that's fine. That's completely fine. That's part of baseball. Figure it out. Like, you can't like tip pitches, you can't like tip stuff off, but like just deliberately like looking to steal for signs, that's bullshit. If it was me, I would have been hot. And I know Cody Bellinger went on a rant and saying that he was going to try and rip somebody's legs off or head off, like when he next saw him. I would feel the same way. And as a pitcher, I would headhunt all day. I would send a message.
Because the Dodgers were one of the victims. And,
yeah.
I mean, I agree with you, dude. Sign stealing has been part of baseball since the beginning of time. But when you add electronic or recording element to it, it feels like something else. that's wrong and not really part of what's been. They had the whole garbage can thing where if it was off speed, some dude hit the garbage can.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you ever heard of John Boy Media. This dude does breakdowns of like.
Yeah, I love it. I fucking love his page is great.
He did a great breakdown of the garbage can thing, and it's like, man, it just feels so wrong, dude. It feels so fucked up, dude. It's just yeah, I'm with you there, man. I can't wait to see one of those guys take a beanball. That's one of the.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, and they better expect it. And if they don't expect it, they're playing themselves at the end of the day.
For sure. All right, real quick, I'm gonna do some speed so we can get out of here before 2 hours because we've been almost on 2 hours, and I think you still have to finish your sushi. What's your 5 favorite athletes?
My 5 favorite athletes.
Any sport, any time, any ever.
Oh, golly, spot. Roberto Clemente. I love Roger Federer. I'm a big Dwayne Wade fan. Tiger Woods is another guy that I love. And I'm a little bit of a beach bum. I mean, it doesn't really fit the bill, but Tony Hawk, I always admired.
Wow. You're well-rounded. That's the most well-rounded list I've ever gotten, dude. You hit all the spectrums.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody. Did you even mention a baseball player? Yeah, Clemente. All right.
I gave you one.
Favorite baseball movie?
Bull Durham.
Awesome movie. Love it. I like Major League too. I'm sure.
I love Major League as well, which was my second one.
Yeah. League of Their Own, pretty good.
Yeah.
Were you now I know you are like a reliever mostly, so maybe you didn't get the situation too often, but I would just stupid question. Were you a jacket guy if you got a hit as a pitcher or no?
Yeah. Yeah. If I had to, I wore a jacket anytime I got out of the inning. If I had to keep pitching, I had a jacket on.
And if you got on base, you got the jacket.
Yeah, I had the jacket. Yeah. Cool. I don't think I got a career hit in the minors, to be honest with you. Maybe one.
Okay. But you must be on base though, right?
Huh?
You probably got on base at some point or something.
Yeah, I think
in college, did you get? Well, you played as a hitter.
Yeah, in college, I got to hit. I got on base. I didn't wear the jacket. I think sometimes it depended on where we were at. If it was really cold, I think I did put one on.
Caught in the middle because you DH'd a little bit in college, so you're like, am I a pitcher? Am I a hitter? Am I going to put the jacket on? All right.
Yeah.
What kind of food? These are more off the cuff or just random. What kind of food would you guys get at home and on the road in the minors, for example? What was the food situation like in the minors, on home, and on the road?
In like lower levels, it was like deli meat, PB&J at home. On the road, sometimes maybe like leftover hot dogs and stuff like that, or burgers from like the stadium that didn't sell, or something to that extent. In higher up, there was like sponsors, like local restaurants that would sponsor like the food, like Chick-fil-A, or like a local restaurant that would be like the spread. At home. On the road, it was a little bit better. Something similar to like the sponsor would send leftovers to, or not leftovers, but like more food, enough food to cover the opposing team. So it got better the higher you got, the better it got.
But it was provided for you, or like a per diem where you could go and you could go eat whatever you wanted?
It was provided to you, and you got a per diem. And if you wanted to get something else, you could.
All right. Say you're I don't even know how this may be a stupid question, dude, because I don't know, but whatever. Bear with me. You're coming in out of the bullpen. I don't know if they do this in the minors, if they play like a song for you, but if you got to pick your song when you're coming out of the bullpen to come into the game, what would it be, or what was it? You know, like Rivera had Enter Sandman, you know, your song be.
So I had one that was a Pitbull. I don't remember the name of the song, but it had the hook was like something about like we on fire, or I can't remember now. Right off the top.
You're giving me Pitbull. That's Miami connection. I'm feeling it.
Yeah. I had a big affinity to that, and I wanted to make people know. I wanted to like be known that you weren't gonna just see like a lobber. Like what was coming in was gonna be hot.
Sweet. All right, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. I'm not sure what this guy's talking about. I'm the man. 50.
Yeah, that's Zach. So real quick, so there's a local bar that we go into, and if Zach's in it or if any of my friends are in it, so I have like the app where I can just like put the song on, and I'll put it in, and if I know Zach's in there, I'll put that song on. So when I walk in, 50 Cent is playing in the background.
Right.
Andy asked best hitter I pitched against, and outcome, Yelich. I think hands down, I faced Yelich a bunch of times. I struck him out, I think once or twice. I walked him another time. I think he's got like a single or two off me. But he was like so like well polished, like never phased. Threw him inside, threw him high and tight. I brushed him off. I would throw him, break him. Like he was like polished. Like there was other guys that you can just mess with him, throw him in, and then go soft away, and then go hard in again, and like it would bother them. Yelich was just never like I said it. I faced him I think once or twice, and I was like, this guy's a big leaguer, hands down. And I even know who he was at the time.
Man, I when I saw that guy play for the first time in the Marlins, I was like, this guy looks like I never would have predicted that he would have been, you know, MVP and all that. But I go, this guy's gonna be a batting champion one day, man.
Yeah.
And look at him now, dude. Like, fuck, we fucked that up, dude. So bad. But
yeah, we did.
That's what we do.
That's what we do.
One time, once upon a time, I lived in New York, and I went to this bar, and I'm having some beer, and there's like this old Yankee fan dude, and he goes to me, he asked me this question that I'm gonna ask you now. He says, "Hey, there's at least 10 ways to get to first base without getting a hit. If you can name them, I'll get you a free drink. How many can you name me?"
I'm so baffled at that. 10 ways to get onto first base without getting a hit.
Yes.
You get walked, you get hit, you get intentionally walked. You can you get put on? Now you can just get put on.
Well, that will go under walk. So yeah. We're under walk.
That doesn't count then.
Yeah. You got 2. Walk and hit. Come on, you can give me more. You can give me more.
I'm so baffled at
I'll give you a hint.
At the fact that there's 10 ways. I'm like floored.
I'll give you a hint. One of your buddies just fucked this up for you.
Wait, what?
One of your buddies fucked it up.
Oh, an error? No.
An error. There you go. An error. That's
Fielder's choice.
That's another one. There you go. You got 4. You're warming up. You're heating up.
Fielder's choice. A sacrifice.
Yes, you can get on with a sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
That's 5. We're up to 5. It's gonna start getting weird now.
Yeah. I mean, drop ball. Like it's like a fly ball, drop ball.
That would be like an error, but your catcher could be involved in a drop ball scenario where the guy gets on base.
Very true.
Which could be recorded as a strikeout for you.
That's
yes. So you could strike the dude out and he gets on base.
I'm getting text sacrifice sacrifice fielder's choice. Wait, what? Mike, stop.
A fielder choice is one. We covered that one. You've gotten 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 6 out of the way. The other ones are kind of oddballish, so I'll give them to you.
All right.
And tell me if this ever happened to you. Catcher's interference. So you're
Oh God, that's like that's the golden unicorn for a batter.
Has that ever happened to you?
No, not to me, but I've seen it
It's a
happen
weird
before.
one.
Yeah.
This one is kind of silly. A pinch runner. You can get on first base as a pinch runner.
Oh, okay, that's clever.
Yep. And then if a hit ball hits a runner, so there's a
I know
dude.
what you're saying. Yeah, the ball's hit and it hits a runner in play. You can get them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another way. There's something called fielder interference, fielder obstruction.
Yeah.
So I think it has to do with you're running up the line and a dude runs into you and prevents you from getting to first base. You can be awarded first base. That's another one. So there you go. That's 10 ways you can get on first base without and picking up the pitcher at the same time.
Yeah.
Iden, man, I really appreciate you coming on with me, and we've been on for like over 2 hours, taking the time. It's been fun, dude. I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. No, thank you for having me, man. It's been a great time.
Yeah, man. I am doing like more sports, so maybe one day when I do some baseball stuff, if you're free, I'll call on you, dude, and see if you have time to come, talk some baseball with me or something,
Yeah, absolutely. I like to get down into the den and do that with you.
Hell yeah, man. So thank you to everybody who was on the chat. Thank you, Andy Perez. He knows a few here, by the way.
Yeah,
studied a little baseball.
Andy, I train Andy's kid, Emilio. Emilio's a great little pitcher. Fine tuning him for a little while. So yeah, Andy thinks really highly of me. I'm sorry.
Do you still do that, by the way?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been doing it as a lot. I focused hard like the last 3 or 4 years. It's been a lot of like real estate. But I get around to the training as often as I can because I love doing it. It's so much fun for me.
Real quick, if you're in the market, where can people find you? Where can people touch with you in this area of buying or selling a home?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So on Instagram and on Facebook, Instagram is at IdenTheRealtor. And Facebook is IdenTheRealtor, at IdenTheRealtor, the same thing. My numbers, I'm going to just give it out there just in case anybody wants to just have a chat, is 954-257-2831. Just have any questions, concerns about what's going on, or, just want to chat it up about real estate. I'm always available. And yeah, again, Randy, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it, man. It's been fun.
I'm going to put all that information in the comment in the description so people can get in touch with you. I wanted to talk about that real quick. We've been going long. Do you think we're in a bubble, man, in the real estate industry right now, or what do you think, man?
Hard to say. I mean, every market has like their own little market, micro market. So however the reaction ends up being from banks and asset management companies, et cetera, as far as, houses being in foreclosure or having to be short saled, those are typically kind of like the keys which affect a market. So if a market gets flooded with those type of properties, it'll affect the retail, value of other properties. So naturally, other properties trying to compete are going to have to drop their sales price. It's had an inverse effect. There's actually properties that have gone up since the COVID and all that stuff because other sellers have pulled out, and there's still a lot of buyers, but there's not a lot of inventory. So it's a very difficult kind of like situation to kind of like foresee and foretell, but it's a crazy time. I advise sellers, if you want to sell, do it now. There's still market value for properties are still high, and it's a good time to go ahead and do it. If this is something that your kids have moved out, and you just want to retire and move somewhere else where it's a lot cheaper to buy a home, sell now. It's the time to do it. Buyers, just be on your toes. Have your financing ready, and just keep an eye out on that specific market that you're looking at or area, and be ready to strike when something hits the market, because the time to do that is now. So that's my 2 bits on that. 2 cents on real estate.
We're gonna put your information down there so people can get into that more with you if they want to in the South Florida area. And man, thank you so much for coming on, man. It was awesome. I wish we can go on more. There was more stuff. Maybe we'll do more another day. It's been awesome. Thank you for everybody in the chat. Thank you for everybody watching on the replay. If you enjoyed it, hit the like, subscribe, notification button. That's going to help me out a little bit. And we'll see you next time, man. Thank you, Iden.
Thank you. You're welcome. Take care, man. Subscribe, guys.
Goodbye, guys.
Bye.